Good afternoon, everybody, and we'll start our discussion with Punjab GS. So today we'll start with the modern history of Punjab, and we have already seen that how Guruship was entered in Sikh, and how it is related to the history of Punjab. We have seen that this Sikh religion was formed by Guru Nanak Dev in 15th century, and we have seen that how last Guru Gobind Singh was died out of the out of the rivalry between the Mughals and Sikhism. And now we'll see that what would happen then after the demise of last Guru. What happened with the history of Punjab? So the period between the 1716 to 1799 was a period for the Punjabis to struggle against the different powers. Earlier, they were fighting with the Mughals. Now they will fight with the one more enemy, that is a new enemy, that is the Britishers. Okay, because by the middle of 18th century, who would dominate in the political history of India? That were the Britishers. Two battles. One was Battle of Plassey, and the other was Battle of Buxar. These two battles uh, resulted into the entrance of Britishers in India, or resulted into the start of influence of Britishers in India. So what happened after the because earlier when there was Guruship, the whole Punjabis were led by one person. That every Punjabi, every Sikh followed the directions of their respective gurus, right? But what happened after that? The Mughals also became weakened. Yes, later Mughals, after the death of Aurangzeb in 1707, later Mughals were not strong enough. And that is why the region of Punjab was divided into various territorial units. And what these territorial units were called? Misls. Okay. In fact, after the death of Aurangzeb, slowly and steadily, the Punjab was divided into 12 misls. And here misls means these were the territorial units. Okay. And here it was written that here it was mentioning of the different misls in India. For example, you can see here, and this is very important question that can be asked in Punjab PCS exam. The first missile was Bhangi or Bhuma missile. What kind of questions they can ask? They can give you the questions on the cross matching, that which missile was led by whom, right? And apart from that, they can directly ask that who was the leader of the Ramgarhia missile, who was the leader of the Ahluwalia missile. These kind of questions can be asked, okay, in PPSC. So what you need to do, you need to remember, this is not important. The how many much number of forces were there. This is not important. Okay, you can skip this portion. Just a second. You can skip this portion. This is not needed. What is important for the Punjab PCS exam? This is important. Okay, the missile and the respective seat of power, the place that was the seat of power for that particular missile, and the person who led that missile. For example, the Bhangi or Bhuma missile was led by Sardar Hari Singh Bhangi of Panjwad near Amritsar. So these two things are important for the Punjab PCS exam. One was the leader of that particular missile, and other was the place to which that missile belonged, which was the seat of power of that missile. These two things are important for the PPSC exam. Okay. Likewise, there was another missile that was Krora Singhia missile, and also known as Panjgaria missile. It was led by Sardar Krora Singh. These kind of questions can be asked. Okay. Then there is another missile like Nakai missile, which was led by Sardar Hira Singh Nakai. Out of these 12 missiles, the most important missile was this one, Suker Chakia missile. Out of all these missiles, which missile was, just a sec, which missile was most important? Suker Chakia missile. And why I'm saying it, that it was most important missile of out of these 12 missiles? Because it was led by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. In fact, it was not led by Maharaja Ranjit Singh, it was led by Sardar Naud Singh, but Maharaja Ranjit Singh belonged to the Suker Chakia missile. And Maharaja Ranjit Singh was one of the most prominent figure in the history of Punjab. Why it was so? Because we know that after the demise of Guru's Punjab politically divided into 12 missiles. And Maharaja Ranjit Singh was the person who unified all these 12 missiles. And he would establish a new kingdom with the name of Punjab. All 12 missiles will be clubbed, and a new state of Punjab would be formed by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And Punjab, a new state of Punjab would become, and the Punjab state would be very strong state in terms of militarily, in terms of economically, in every way. Stability was that most. After the Britishers, Punjab was the second state in India that had the largest standing force. That is how the Punjab will prosper with after the unification, after the unification made by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. So you need to remember that Maharaja Ranjit Singh belonged to the Suker Chakia missile. This question can be asked. This question already asked in prelim exam, Punjab PCS exam. That Maharaja Ranjit Singh belonged to which missile? 4 options were there. Then foundation of the Sikh Empire. We have seen that Guru Gobind Singh made the army, Sikh army, that was known as Dal Khalsa. Okay. After that, many confederacies were formed. Although all 12 missiles belong to the one state, one Punjab, who belong to the one religion, these were called the confederacies. These were the semi-independent missiles, you can say. Okay, and it was the Maharaja Ranjit Singh who would unify the all 12 missiles. All these things you can read from here. Then the date was also written when Maharaja Ranjit Singh assumed the power. Maharaja Ranjit Singh fought many battles. Okay. It took time. Maharaja Ranjit Singh to consolidate its rule over the Punjab. It took many fights. For example, he entered in Jammu, he entered in the other areas, Sialkot, he occupied many forts. After that, it was in Lahore. This is very important fact, which can be asked in PPSC exam. After capturing the Lahore on 12th April 1801, that was the very important day of Punjab because it was a day of Baishakhi. There are some festivals which are very important for the Punjab exam. Okay, that we will see in the cultural history of Punjab, in the cultural part of Punjab. There are many festivals of Punjab, and out of those festivals, Baishakhi festival is very famous. And Baishakhi festival occurred on this date, 12th April 1801. And on this date, 12th April 1801, this date is very important because already they had asked question on this date. On 12th April 1801, in Lahore, Ranjit Singh declared his independence. It was a day of Baishakhi. Okay, this fact you need to remember for PPSC exam. This fact is very important. Okay. And his investiture ceremony was performed by Sahib Singh Bedi, who was the direct descendant of Guru Nanak. That is also very important. Who played the investiture policy for Maharaja Ranjit Singh? That was Sahib Bedi Singh, and he was the descendant of Guru Nanak Dev. After that, a new coin was issued. After that, a new coin was issued with the popular name of Nanak Shahi Rupee. The currency that belonged to this empire was Nanak Shahi Rupee. That is also important fact which can be asked. Then a few rebellions by various leaders such as Uttam Singh, Sahib Singh were successfully defended by Maharaja Ranjit Singh in the year 1802. He marched to Daska and eventually conquered Chinut. All these things are important. And in 1806, Ranjit Singh appointed a Chhatri named Makhan Chand as chief of the army. The same year, he crossed the Satluj River and seized Jira, Muksar Sahib, Kotkapur, and Dharamkot. This is the basically timeline that when Ranjit Singh acquired which place. This timeline is also important. Like in 1807, he invaded Kasur, held by Qutbuddin Khan. So this timeline is very important of Ranjit Singh. Question can be asked on this timeline that on which year Ranjit Singh did what? On which year, in which year Ranjit Singh occupied what? This timeline is very important. Okay, that you need to remember. Now, again, one of the important thing, I told you that Punjab became very strong empire under the kingship of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Now there was rivalry between Maharaja Ranjit Singh and Britishers. As I told you that Punjab was the second most important army or second most largest army after the Britishers in India. Now, Maharaja Ranjit Singh wanted to extend his kingdom on the eastern side, right? He wanted to cross the Satluj River and he wanted to cover the other areas that are the east of the Satluj River. And because of that, an aggression was started between these two, Britishers and the Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And you can say that, and then after that, a treaty was signed between the Britishers and the Maharaja Ranjit Singh. That was a peace treaty. That River Satluj would work as a border between British Empire and the Empire of Punjab. Britishers said that we won't cross Satluj River to make acquisition over Punjab, and you won't cross the River Satluj to acquire the other parts. Why Britishers did so? Although they were overpowered, although they acquired all India, but against Maharaja Ranjit Singh, why they surrendered? You can say surrender word we can use for Maharaja Ranjit Singh. There were two reasons. Okay, there were two reasons. One was reason that was outside India, because in Europe, what was happening? France was in Europe at that time. France was ruled by Napoleon Bonaparte, and Napoleon Bonaparte was very strong ruler. He acquired many parts of Europe, and he was putting direct threat to Britain in Europe. And because in Europe, Britain was, already facing problem from France. That is why they did not want to indulge in the, did not want to indulge in the direct conflict with uh, uh, the Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And second problem was that Maharaja Ranjit Singh had a good army. He was very strong. He had good artillery also. In fact, only two kingdoms are famous for the artillery in the British time. One was the Punjab state, other was the kingdom of Mysore. These two kingdoms had good artillery. Artillery means top. Okay, they had good artilleries. And Maharaja Ranjit Singh had good relations with France also. And because of these reasons, a peace treaty was signed between these two, between the Britishers as well as the Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And what is the name of that treaty? Treaty of Amritsar, that was signed as a peace treaty between the Maharaja Ranjit Singh and Britishers. Right? And this treaty was signed on 25th April 1809. This date is very important. Okay, Treaty of Amritsar, the name of treaty as well as the date of treaty, 25th April 1809. On this date, a peace treaty was signed between these two, Maharaja Ranjit Singh and Britishers. And what exactly they said in this treaty? Ranjit Singh agreed not to occupy territories south of the Satluj and withdraw all claims of sovereignty over the rulers of that territory. After the treaty, Britishers established at Ludhiana under the command of Colonel Auchterlomi. And who was the person that was sent to Maharaja Ranjit Singh to make him convince for this treaty, to negotiate for the treaty? The name of the person was C.T. Metcalfe. These kind of questions can also be asked. Who was the person who was sent to Maharaja Ranjit Singh for signing of this treaty? These things are important, which I circled. Okay, and this colonel who was given a command of Ludhiana. All these facts are important for PPSC. Okay, and south of Satluj, remember the river was Satluj, that made a border between Punjab and the British India. Okay. Now we'll move further. So Maharaja Ranjit Singh now became master of this treaty, master of the region that was west of Satluj. In west of Satluj, Maharaja Ranjit Singh had monopoly over the whole of these areas. And again, he fought many fights and he captured many new areas that were west of Satluj River. Because Britishers could not enter the west of Satluj. So there was a monopoly of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. He had a strong army. That is why he acquired the Kangra Valley from Gurkhas. After Kangra, Ranjit Singh made an attack on Jammu. Okay. And likewise, he made so many other raids or extended his empire. In fact, he captured Multan also. In the year 1819, Ranjit Singh successfully annexed Kashmir. Again, this date is important. In the year 1819, Ranjit Singh successfully annexed Kashmir, followed by subduing Kashmir mountains west to the river Jhelum. And after that, again 1823, there was another fight for Maharaja Ranjit Singh. There was Battle of Jamrud also. Okay, in 1834, when he marched into Peshawar. And in 1837, there was Battle of Jamrud, between the Sikhs and Afghans. Okay, so all these dates and all these fights are also important for PPSC. Then an unfortunate event was happened in the history of Punjab. And what was that unfortunate event? That in 1839 there was a death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Now the successor rulers who ruled after the Maharaja Ranjit Singh were not able to rule. They were very weak. And by this time, Britishers also became strong, because now there is no more threat from the Napoleon Bonaparte, because Napoleon Bonaparte was also died. So Maharaja Ranjit Singh died in India, Napoleon Bonaparte died in Europe, and now Britishers focused. Punjab was the last state. Punjab was the last state, princely state, which was annexed by the Britishers. Remember this fact that Punjab was the last state which became the part of the British India. Okay, and that event happened in the 1849. First of all, after 1839, Britishers tried to put puppet rulers in Punjab. Britishers tried to put puppet ruler in Punjab. And after that, two battles were also occurred between Britishers. There are popularly known as Anglo-Sikh Wars. If you remember, we have read this. There are two popular wars between Britishers and the Punjab that were called the Anglo-Sikh Wars. We'll discuss it. Okay. First of all, we'll see that administration of Ranjit Singh. These terms are important. Okay. First of all, his whole administration was divided into 12 departments. His whole administration was divided into 12 departments for better control. And the most important 4 departments were, out of these 12 departments, Daftare Abwabul Mal, Daftare Tujihat, Daftare Mawaji, and Daftare Roj Namcha Ikrajat, whatever. You need to remember that which department was meant for what. For example, Daftare Awabul Mal dealt with the income of the state and remained popular records. Likewise, Daftare Tujihat maintained records of the entire expenditure incurred on the royal family. So if this department is related to the income, Abwab, then Tujihat for the expenditure. These are the keywords that you can remember. Daftare Mawaji for various accounts of the pay. It dealt with the payment or salaries to the civil and military officials. Likewise, Daftare Rojnamcha was responsible for maintaining the accounts of all day-to-day expenditure. It was accounts department. It was salary and pay department. It was department related to expenditure, related to income. All these 4 departments you need to remember. So now we'll move to further. Apart from these 12 departments to run the administration, the whole empire was divided into 4 provinces. And what are the names of provinces? Lahore, Multan, Kashmir, and Peshawar. You need to remember all those 4 provinces of this empire, which was made by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Lahore, Multan, Kashmir, and Peshawar. For example, they can ask the questions like that. Which of the following was not the province of the empire ruled by Maharaja Ranjit Singh? So they can give the 4 options. So you need to remember that there are 4 provinces: Lahore, Multan, Kashmir, and Peshawar. And all these 4 provinces were under the one governor, who was also called as Najim. For example, Motiram was made the Najim of Kashmir, whereas Peshawar was kept under the governorship of Hari Singh Nalwa or Nalwa, whatever. 3 kinds of currencies were in use, namely Mughal coins, Hari Singh Nalwa coins, and Nanak Shahi coins. So these 3 coins were popular in the in this empire, in the Punjab Empire ruled by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Mughal coins, Hari Singh Nalwa coins, and Nanak Shahi coins. These three coins are important, which can be asked in exam. All this stuff is a prelim. Okay, it's a book for the prelim exam only, and that is why they had put only those facts which can be asked in the exam. You need to remember the 4 provinces. You need to remember the respective governors, the name of respective governors, and these three coins. These are important. Now, there was a little bit of history of Multan and Kotwal. Multan was kept under Khush Dayal Khatri in the beginning. Later, Savanmal made the governor of Multan. Earlier, the Multan, when before, we have seen recently, have seen that Multan was captured by Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and it became the province of Punjab. So before as he acquired the Multan, it was kept under the Khush Dayal Khatri in beginning, and then it became a province, and new governor was made for Multan, and the name of that governor was Savanmal, who was made the governor of Multan. This again, you find one more governor. And then a new post was created. Post was created as Kotwal. Okay. And Imam Baksh was appointed as a special officer known as Kotwal for administrative control of Lahore. Kotwal is the same like modern days SHO, the Thana Prabhari or SHO. Okay. And there was one more post which was created, that was Kardar. Apart from the Kotwal, that was basically related to the law and order administration. One more post was created that was named as Kardar. And who were the Kardars? The empire was divided into various provinces, and there were 4 provinces already we have discussed, and these provinces were further divided into districts, and these districts were divided into villages, and the villages that used mojas. Villages were also called mojas. So these districts were headed by Kardars, and these provinces were headed by governors, which were also called, yes, governors were also called Nazim. Okay, governors were also called Nazim. Governors were also called Nazims. And the Kardars were the persons who ruled over districts, who were the head of the districts. And their basic function was the revenue generation. Why district collector? Although, collector had one important function, that was the collection of the revenue. What kind of revenue? We're talking about the land revenue. Still, why district collector was made got so much power? Because at that time, the most important source of revenue was only land revenue. There was no other taxes. The situation was different, and because the collector was collecting the most important thing, that is land revenue, that is why he got the too much power, and he got the power related to the law and order also, because while collecting this revenue, he could need some force to collect that revenue, and that is why collector was given so much power in the British period. So likewise, Kardar was also one of the most important functionaries, official in the Punjab administration. Okay. So you can read it little bit. Okay. It's you can read it from your side. Respect for other religions, and we know that Maharaja Ranjit Singh had respect for other religions. He was tolerant towards religion. In fact, he employed many Muslims and Hindus in his administration. In fact, there are some examples that are mentioned here. For example, he offered prayer also in some mosques like Badshahi Mosque or Badshahi Masjid adjacent to Lahore Fort. He also gave liberal grants to temples like Jwalamukhi in Kangra. And definitely the other grants that were given to the Jagannath Puri, Banaras or Varanasi, Haridwar, Dargah of Mia Mir in Lahore, and the birthplace of Baba Farid. Baba Farid was a basically Sufi saint in Pakpatan Sharif. So because of his liberal grants that he made to other religions, and he offered many prayers. In fact, he visited to many shrines also, and that is why you can say that Punjab state was a secular state. It was a secular state. Every religion was respected. And he is also known as the founding father of Punjabiyat. Whoever speaks Punjabi, whether is a Muslim, Hindu, and Sikh, given the equal respect. Okay, in that way, he founded father of he was known as founding father of Punjabiyat. Then we'll talk about land revenue system, because I again repeatedly I told you that land revenue was the most important source of revenue at that time, and land revenue is nothing but agricultural tax. Two kind of land revenue systems were famous at that time, which was used in their administration. And what were these two? One was Batai land revenue system, other was Kankut. These were two important land revenue systems that were prevalent in Punjab, in the state of Punjab. And not only in the Punjab, these two land revenue systems were also famous for the Mughal administration. In Mughal administration also, they used these two land revenue system, Batai and Kankut. And as we already read in our modern history, I hope that some of you should remember that what is Batai and Kankut system. Anybody who can tell me what is Batai and what is Kankut system? Anybody? Any person who has attended my classes of medieval and modern history, at that time I discussed Batai, Kankut, and the other system also that we have discussed. Anybody? What is Batai and what is Kankut land revenue system? And this is not only important from the Punjab, this is important for the UPSC also. Okay. Yes, anybody?
So Batai was the land system in which crop was divided into three shares.
And Kankut? And Kankut? First of all, these two land revenue systems were evolved in the Mughal times. And from the Mughals, these land revenue system was taken by the Britishers. From the Mughals only, these land revenue system taken by the Maharaja Ranjit Singh in Punjab. But these two land revenue systems were evolved in the Mughal period. First of all. Secondly, now let's see what is the difference between the Batai and the Kankut. Although we have discussed all these things in our history books, history notes. But okay, Batai was a system in which what happened, the farmers, as they produce, as they harvest, the harvest was divided into three shares, and 1/3 was taken by the government as land revenue. In Kankut system also, there are three shares, and one was taken by the government. Again, in Kankut system also, 1/3 was the land revenue tax, which was taken by the government. So what is the difference then? You know, in Batai, the assessment that how much produce state would collect. Okay, basically the difference between is between the measurement, calculation of the tax. That there is the difference. calculation of the difference tax. In Bataille, the calculation of tax was made from the past experience. For example, because last year we were calculated this much tax is fixed. This year also we make a same tax. Whether you're producing more or less, state didn't care. But in the Kankut system, what they did, that along with the past experience, what they did, they sent their official on field. Then official made a rough estimate that okay, this could be the produce and this could be our share. Okay, give me this share, like that. So Kankut was based on the on-spot. Kankut was based on the on-spot assessment. It was also rough assessment. It was also rough assessment. But Bataille was based on the land records. Bataille was calculated based on the land records. Otherwise, the share was same, 1/3. Okay. That was the little difference between the Bataille and the Kankut. There were other land revenue system also that we have discussed in history that you need to read. These kind of questions can also be asked in UPSC. So whatever these land revenue systems were prevalent, for example, system of Bataille was introduced in the beginning of the reign of Ranjit Singh. Firstly, he used Bataille system, and it continued up to a period of 1823. So up to 1823, Maharaja Ranjit Singh used Bataille system. Maharaja Ranjit Singh used Bataille system. In 1824, Bataille system was replaced by Kankut system. In 1824, Bataille system was replaced by Kankut system, where the share of the government was determined on the basis of standing crop, whose value was estimated at the terms of money. The share of state was collected in tax. There's one more difference between the Bataille and Kankut. In Bataille, the revenue was collected in kind or cash. There was a choice in Bataille. In the Kankut, revenue was collected in cash only. That was another difference. After 1834, Ranjit Singh began to encourage the practice of farming of periods varying from 3 to 6 years. The stated demand varied from 2/5 to 1/3 of the produce of the year. So earlier tax was 1/3, then the tax was varied from 2/5 to 1/3. After 1834, the tax was varied. Now, the land revenue was collected twice a year. That is again an important fact which you need to remember. The land revenue was collected twice a year. The chief officer in charge of the collection of revenue in district was Kardar, which we have already discussed. The most important function of Kardar, district official, was related to the collection of land revenue, collection of tax. That I already told you. Then below the Kardars, he was supported by Muqaddams. He was supported by Muqaddams. And Muqaddams were supported by two officials, Patwaris and Kanun Gos. Patwaris and Kanun Gos. In that way, the tax was collected. In that way, tax was collected. So now, this was a small detail when which person ruled. For example, Maharaja Ranjit Singh ruled from 1801 to 1839, and in 1839 he was died. Khadak Singh was died in 1839, and Nau Nihal Singh, again he was king. You know, they were useless rulers, but yes, still that is why you can see that one lived for 1 year or 2 year, like that. The last ruler of the Punjab state was Dalip Singh, and Dalip Singh was overpowered by Britishers. And now in 1849, the Punjab was acquired by Britishers. From this period, from 1799 to 1802, the capital of the Punjab was Gujranwala. Gujranwala. And from 1802 to 1849, the capital of Punjab was Lahore. Okay, that you can remember. Currency, most important currency was Nanak Shahi. Apart from that, there were the two currencies which we already discussed. Language that they used, Persian, that was official language. Apart from that, they used Punjabi. These two languages they used. Now we'll talk about Anglo-Sikh wars. You know, there were two wars. Anglo-Sikh War 1. Anglo means it is related to the Britishers or England, or the people who spoke English language. That person is called Anglo. So Anglo-Sikh War, there were two Anglo-Sikh wars between the Britishers and the Sikhs. Yes, what were the two wars when it were fought? Anybody? First Anglo-Sikh War, when it was fought. Anybody?
So 11 December 1845 to 9 March 1846.
1845 to 1846. This was a period when first Anglo-Sikh War was fought. And second Anglo-Sikh War?
So 1847 to 1849.
1848 to 1849. These were the two wars that were fought between the Britishers and the Sikhs. And it was the year of 1849 when the final battle that was fought between the Britishers and the Sikhs was Battle of Gujarat, which was fought on the 21st February 1849. After the Battle of Gujarat, which was fought in the Second Anglo-Sikh War, the Punjab became British province. Okay, Punjab was acquired by Britishers. In fact, the exact date of annexation of Punjab was something else. That was 2nd April 1849. 2nd April 1849. 2nd April 1849. This was the exact date when Punjab became a part of British India. Remember, Punjab became a part of British India, not the princely state. And this was the date. This date you need to remember. And apart from that, what was the decisive battle that was fought between the British and Punjab? That was Battle of Gujarat. That was fought on this year. 21st February 1849. These three things are important. अब वो क्वेश्चन किस तरह से आ सकते हैं? फॉर एग्जाम्पल उन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछा प्रीलिम में, व्हाट वाज द डिसाइसिव बैटल इन द ब्रिटिशर्स एंड द पंजाब. तो उन्होंने ऑप्शन पता कैसे आएंगे यहाँ पे? फॉर एग्जाम्पल बैटल ऑफ गुजरात, देन दे विल गिव वन डेट 1. देन बैटल ऑफ लाहौर, date 1. Battle of Gujarat, date 2. Battle of Lahore, date 1. Likewise, date 2, whatever, date 1. These kind of question can also be asked. Okay, I'm also telling you the format of the questions that can be asked in PCS exam. So you need to remember this thing. Okay. So I am explaining you that these dates are also important in Punjab exam. Don't forget to remember dates. Okay, the important dates which I am mentioning that you need to remember. Okay, without any question. And now You could also make short notes also. As I'm speaking, you can also make short notes if you want. The transfer of Delhi territory from northwestern provinces to Punjab, Punjab with its dependencies was formed into a lieutenant governorship. Sir John Lawrence was the chief commissioner, being appointed as the first lieutenant governor on 1st January. Again, now Punjab was acquired by Britishers. Now lieutenant governor was appointed for the Punjab province. And Sir John Lawrence became the first chief commissioner, appointed the first lieutenant governor. So if question is asked in your exam that who was the first lieutenant governor of Punjab, your answer would be Sir John Lawrence. And what is the date when he was appointed? 1st January 1859. After the acquisition of Punjab, who was the first lieutenant governor of Punjab? Sir John Lawrence. He was appointed on 1st January 1859. And he was succeeded by these governors: Robert Montgomery, who came in 1859, Sir Donald MacLeod in 1865, Henry Durand, Sir Henry Davis, whatever. In 1866, the Judicial Commission was replaced by Chief Court. Okay. And the territory of Punjab is divided into 29 districts. 5 divisions. 5 divisions were further divided into 29 districts. And there were, in this Punjab only, 43 princely states were located. Small princely states were there. 43 princely states were there. Kunal said voice is not clear. Is it problem for everybody, whether voice is clear or not?
Sir, it is clear.
Okay. So I think the problem is on Kunal's side. Now these are the divisions, the 5 divisions we talked about. After the acquisition of Punjab by the Britishers, they divided Punjab into 5 divisions: Delhi division, Jalandhar division, Lahore, Rawalpindi, and Multan. These were the 5 divisions of British Punjab in British India. And these were the respective districts. अब ये थोड़ा सा deep question हो जाएगा. Even if you could not remember everything, at least remember districts. And if you could remember the respective districts, that would be very good. But at least remember these 5 divisions. And if you could remember the respective districts, that could be important. But at least remember the 5 divisions. Okay. Whatever कुछ silly trick आपसे बन रही हो, for example, hero, go, day, whatever, right? कुछ इस तरह से कुछ first 2 letters लेके कुछ याद कर पाओ आप, तो भी ऐसा भी कर सकते हो आप लोग. Like that. Okay. If you could not, if time कम है आपके पास, नहीं कर सकते, don't worry. Only remember these 5 divisions. Okay. You need not to remember the corresponding districts. And these were the princely states in this Punjab. ये थोड़ा सा आप देख सकते हो. एटलीस्ट नाम को एक दो बार रिवाइज कर लो. याद नहीं करना तो रिवाइज कर लो, याद आ जाएगा एग्जाम के टाइम. Like Patiala was the princely state, Jind was princely state, Naba, Bhavalpur, Sirmur, Lohara, Dujana, Patodi, Kalsia, Simla Hill, Shimla, Kapurthala. It was a princely state. Malerkotla, Suket, Faridkot, and Chamba. These were the princely states that were found in the Punjab after it became the part of British India. Then we'll see British division and British India. You know, after the end of British period, we got the independence, and there was a Mountbatten plan by which the division was occur between the India and Pakistan. And why we are reading the division in here in the Punjab history? Because Punjab was divided. 2 areas were divided when there was partition between India and Pakistan. These 2 areas were, one was Bengal. Bengal was divided into Eastern Bengal and the Western Bengal. That is, still we call it West Bengal. Okay, although there is no East Bengal in India, still we call it West Bengal. Why? Because the Bengal was divided into West Bengal and East Bengal. Likewise, Punjab was divided. between India and Pakistan. Part of Punjab became part of India, part of Punjab became the part of Pakistan. And that is why it is important for us, the division between India and Pakistan. I think, yes. Now, important fact about here, about this division, is the Red Cliff Line. Red Cliff Line, ये क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी में भी आ चुका है, the importance of Red Cliff Line. In fact, but they asked, the Red Cliff Line divided, it was the simplest question. Red Cliff Line divided what? Options were India, Pakistan, India, China. This kind of question came, I think, on Red Cliff Line in prelim exam in UPSC. So definitely, for Punjab, you can expect it. So the Red Cliff Line was a border line which divided India and Pakistan, right? And the commission who prepared this report, or who was a person, obviously Red Cliff was a person, with his name this line was made, and the person was Sir Cyril Radcliffe, who was the barrister in London. He became the chairman of that British commission, which formed this border line. There was Red Cliff Line. And the division of Pakistan, like East Pakistan, West Pakistan. Nowadays, it is Bangladesh. Bangladesh earlier was East Pakistan. So who made that kind of division between India and Pakistan? That was the Sir Cyril Radcliffe, who designed that border line. Whatever now. Just a second. Now, partition between India and Pakistan. In early 1947, in the months leading up to deliberations of the Punjab Boundary Commission, the main disputed area appeared to be in the Bari and Bist Doabs. In the Bari Doab, the districts were, yes, this is important. आप इसको नेट पे सर्च करना, बारी दुआब एंड बिस्त दुआब, दोनों में कौन कौन से रीजन्स आते हैं. ओके, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आई थिंक इट्स नॉट गिवन हियर. आई थिंक इट विल बी गिवन इन ज्योग्राफी पार्ट. ज्योग्राफी में डेफिनेटली ये दिया होगा. The Bari Doab, Bist Doab, all these things must be given in the geography part. But इसको चेक कर लेना आप लोग, बारी दुआब एंड बिस्त दुआब के बारे में. इस तरह क्वेश्चंस भी आते हैं पीसीएस में. Okay, whatever the division was made of Punjab. Okay, before the boundary commission became formal headings, government was set up for the East and West Punjab regions. Their territories were provisionally divided by national division based on simple district majorities. These things are not that important. Okay, we'll see next. What is next? Yes, this Punjabi Suba movement, that is important. You know, after the partition, a new movement was started by the Akali Dal. And what they demanded, Punjabi Suba. They said that the Punjab should be for the Punjabis only. That way, right? And Jawaharlal Nehru was not in the mood to accept the demand of Akali Dal to provide a state based on, Suba Punjab, the state based upon the particular language or particular religion that he did not want. But the State Reorganization Commission was formed in 1955, and this commission recommended the reorganization of states, and we will see that how it was reorganized, what formed after this demand of commission. But there was another civil war that was led by the Punjabis, that was led by Master Tara Singh and Fateh Singh. And again, they demanded the same, that is the Punjabi Suba. You know, this Ganganagar and the Ganganagar district, and that is now Hanumangarh also. These two districts were one at one time. Okay, with the name of Ganganagar only. From Ganganagar, Hanumangarh district was formed. So this whole Ganganagar, which included the Hirmangad also, this was also treated as the part of Punjabi Suba by the Master Tara Singh. Okay. So Master Tara Singh said that whatever the areas where the Punjabi is speaking, that should be part of the Punjab, and all Punjabis speaking areas should be part of the Punjab in that way. He wanted a big Suba, Punjabi Suba, as a state, as a new state. But we thought that it could create problems. It could create problems. It could lead to the succession of. It could lead to the secessionist policies by these leaders, and that is why they, even today the Punjabis very much respect the Tara Singh. Even Bhindranwale is always also respected in families in Punjab. Likewise, Master Tara Singh also considered as a legend figure in Punjab, at least in some part. Okay, because he fought for the interests of Punjabis. Now, reorganization of the state of Punjab. This question can also be asked: who led the Punjabi Suba movement? Answer is Master Tara Singh and Fateh Singh also. But the most prominent figure was Master Tara Singh. So this State Reorganization Commission recommended, or this state reorganization was made in the form of, they created they divided the Punjab into two parts. Okay, they divided the Punjab into two parts in 1950. First of all, in 1950, they divided the Punjab into two parts. One was made Raj province. Raj means British Raj. Raj province. Other was became PEPSU. PEPSU. What is the meaning of PEPSU? This is the full form of PEPSU. Patiala and East Punjab State Union. This PEPSU included the all princely states. This PEPSU included all princely states. Okay. In 1950, Punjab was divided into two parts. One was Raj province, which was part of the British India. In British time also, the India was divided into two parts. In British time also, India was divided into two parts. One was British India, which was directly ruled by the Britishers. Other was princely states. Likewise, in 1950, Punjab was divided into two parts. One was Raj province, that was a part of the British province, British India. Other was PEPSU, Patiala and East Punjab State Union. That was part of princely states. That was part of princely states. But in 1956, when this State Reorganization Commission recommended, in 1956, this PEPSU was merged into Punjab State. And several northern districts of Punjab in the Himalayas were added to Himachal Pradesh. Okay. So in 1956, these two were merged, Raj province and PEPSU. Okay. And the capital of the undivided Punjab province was Lahore. Ended up in the west. I mean, the capital Lahore went to the Pakistan. Now they needed a new capital. So the new capital was made at Chandigarh. Okay, Lahore went to Pakistan. That is why they made a new capital at Chandigarh. And Shimla was named temporary capital of Punjab until Chandigarh was completed in 1960. At that time, Chandigarh was under construction. So they thought that temporary capital will make Shimla. And after that, when Chandigarh was completed in 1960, then they created the capital of Chandigarh as capital of Punjab. But in September 1966, that is again important year. Why? Because Indira Gandhi passed Punjab Reorganization Act. And according to the Punjab Reorganization Act, the Punjab was divided into another state, and the Haryana state was formed out of the Punjab in 1966. And it is written here that which areas went to Haryana. For example, these districts like Hisar, Rohtak, Gurgaon, Karnal, Mahendragarh, Narwana, Jind, tehsils of Sangrur district, okay, Ambala, this Jagadari, Narayangarh, tehsils of Ambala districts, Pinjore, Kanungo circle of Kharar tehsil of Ambala district. All these things, all these areas became the part of the Haryana. And then High Court, they made a common High Court for Punjab, Haryana, and Chandigarh. Okay, there is nothing much to know about that. Then allocation of seats for the Lok Sabha and seats for the Rajya Sabha. All these things are written here, which you need to remember. 13 and I think 7 seats are there for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay, that you can cross check. Then transfer of territory from Punjab to Himachal Pradesh. These are the districts which became the part of Himachal Pradesh out of Punjab. Okay, again these districts you can read once. There is not much important for that. Then Chandigarh became Union Territory. Again, there is nothing much more important. These facts you can read once. Again, there is nothing much more important about that. You can read it just once. So this is it with this chapter. Okay. Now we'll discuss. I think it's already 4 p.m. right? So I need to leave this class here only, and I've shared further notes for the social religious movement, which is a very important topic. The next topic, social religious movement. Almost every year they had asked question on that chapter, social religious movement. 3 kind of movements were there that we'll read there, like Namdhari movement, this Nirankari movement. All these things we will read in next class. And these movements are very important. Only 3 movements are there. It's a 2-page chapter only. After that, there is a freedom struggle movement that we'll read, again 3 or 4 pages. I hope that by tomorrow we'll complete the history. Okay, and then we'll start geography of Punjab. But I will share some practice test paper also. Okay, not test paper, practice questions also, you can say. Whatever the chapters we are reading, these questions will be from that chapter only. Okay, for example, for first chapter, I will give you question bank for the first chapter, likewise for second, likewise that. Okay, you can just practice all over those questions and it would be good. Okay, all questions would be objective. And I hope that you are working on the Lucent or Pearson also. Everybody working on Lucent or Pearson? Yes?
Yes, sir.
What about others?
Yes, sir.
And Aman, you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So whatever, one more thing, Punjab we are doing, Lucent or Pearson you are doing by your side. In fact, you have read my class notes also. You are very much clear about the concepts. For GS, we are doing everything. But time and again, I'm saying one more thing, that CSAT is more important than GS, what I can say. Okay. If you have not practiced for CSAT, if you are only reading GS and not practicing CSAT, that would be very bad. Okay. So give time to CSAT also, okay? Because CSAT, there is no negative marking. CSAT has equal weightage with GS. By making, 5 or 6 hours of study, in GS you can make a correct of 1 or 2 questions, right? But by making 5 or 6 hours study for the CSAT, you can make 5 or 6 questions correct. And that is why please give time to CSAT also. You need to work on Punjabi language also, and what kind of questions has been asked in Punjabi, which kind of questions are asked with respect to the synonyms, antonyms, English grammar also, interpersonal skills. Okay, you need to practice on comprehensions of passages, reasoning, basic numeracy, data interpretation, etc. You just solve the previous questions of Punjab as well as the last 3 or 4 years CSAT question paper of UPSC. That's it. Okay, that much I wanted. Okay, so this is it with this class, and we'll meet tomorrow for Punjab GS with same time. Okay. And if there will be change of time, I will message you.